We've had a problem with the siren activation by county EMA with the CAD system, especially the last 2 years. I believe it went in effect in 2008. Of course, one of the reasons when the siren is activated for any kind of an incident that Ebenezer Fire Company is to respond on, either in our community or mutual aid, that's fine. That's the way we want it. The problem is if we add additional equipment from our station, like for instance, our engines dispatched, it's on the dispatch sheet. We follow up with usually the utility vehicle, which is the support vehicle to the apparatus we have. The siren's activated again. And also, after we're out on a call, multiple fire companies dispatch, mutual aid. After the officer in charge declares that everything's under control, the box goes back in service, the siren is also hit again. So for one incident, it's not uncommon for the siren to be activated 3 times for the same incident. I did talk to John over a year ago. He only went into the EMA director slot just a couple months before I talked to him. He said, well, we can shut the siren off. That doesn't take care of the problem. The problem has existed for a long time. Everybody knows the problem. If my facts are straight, out of 35 county companies, 29 still have a house siren. The problem exists in the CAD system, the way the computer was programmed. It needs to be addressed.
Like I told you before, Lee, it's the way the computer works. 2008 went into effect. We knew there was an existing problem then. We talked to the CAD company, tried to fix it, and they couldn't fix it. This is the way it works. The solution to it was to put a box on your siren that doesn't allow it to blow for a certain amount of time after it's activated the first time. It also can be a timer put on if it does, you don't want it to blow at night, like some have done. That's features they've added since that. That's the solution that we have at this point. I reached out to New World in the last couple of weeks since this issue's come up again. Asked them if they can try to provide a solution. They have their people looking at it. They're not sure they can provide a solution because it's the way the system's designed. So at this point, I don't have an answer from the CAD company. Waiting on their engineering division to look into it to see if there's something they can do to fix it.
It seems to me that when someone writes a program, no one's perfect and there's going to be errors that need to be corrected. It happens with Microsoft all the time. We get updates, patches, whatever you want to call them. And if there's a problem here in Lebanon County, my guess is it's a problem in other counties too. Would there be something with the voice of our regional organization approaching the CAD company and saying, we need a patch, what's this going to cost? And then that would bring regional dollars to make that patch available?
I'm not sure we do. I don't know. York has
So
the
we
same
could
one
partner
do.
perhaps with York. That's what I was looking for, is more of a regional approach so that it's not all on our nickel.
We have addressed this before. When Dan Kaufman was here, this same issue came up shortly after the CAD system went in. And at that time, there was no fix for it. There was no fix for it. There was just absolutely no way to fix it.
Well, their program
and
would have to.
And our software hasn't changed since that, so
Yeah.
I don't know if they can even fix it.
Their programmer would have to correct it.
And if,
Could you work with perhaps PEMA and York and others that might have this same system to see if PEMA would carry any clout?
I have reached out to York. Like I said, I've reached out to the CAD company. They have their engineers looking at it again.
Okay.
They called up old cases that were
Right.
initiated back when, and looked at it back then. They're having their people look and seeing if there's a way around it. We
And
chose
Mr.
to use the
McGrady has a
automated.
lot of pull. Does he have any suggestions?
I didn't even run it by Mike.
So if I understand properly, we have a situation here that's not good, obviously, and it's been ongoing for I guess a number of years now since we've had the program, right, John?
Yeah, it's been since CAD's live.
Right. We made an attempt early to try to fix it, but we have reached out, and you haven't had a hey, we absolutely can't fix this
No,
answer?
they're looking at it. They didn't
Okay.
say they couldn't fix it.
Right.
They're looking to see if there is a way to get it fixed.
So,
Like I said, there is a fix, but it's not at our end. It's the fire department's end.
okay.
But see, I don't feel the fire company, any fire company in the county, should have to invest money to do the fix. Like, it's putting a Band-Aid on a wound that you need stitches. We are making changes, but we have to know what changes can be made in the CAD system to see how many changes we need to make. One of the changes that we are gonna make ahead of time, and it's probably gonna happen within the next, by the end of next week, we're gonna put a timer on it, so the siren cannot be activated between 9 p.m. and 9 a.m. So the only activation will be 9
Daytime
a.m.
hours.
to 9 p.m., 12 hours a day.
Nine-
We could add another timer that, on the initial activation, we can put a second timer on there and set it for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. That'll actually cancel out the siren if it's hit after the initial activation for up to 20, 30 minutes, or wherever you set it. But I don't want to, we're looking at $300 for each one of those two changes, a piece. So we're going to do the first step, but hopefully we'll get an answer shortly about the CAD system. And John was nice enough to call me Monday morning and tell me that they were trying to set up a conference call with the outfit on Monday afternoon. Apparently that didn't happen. But this issue really came to a head in the last month.
Yeah, I understand that, and I think hopefully it can be worked out that we can address it, but my thinking, and I'm speaking just as one commissioner, but my thinking is that if we need to go to the second timer, that we may be able to help the fire company out with that expense, and we'll find it somewhere.
That'd be like $9,000 roughly
If you're,
for all the fire
the
companies.
thing is, Commissioner, you do it for us, there's like I said, I have to figure there's like 29 other fire companies.
Okay.
I took
I mean,
30
they
times 300.
They have their sirens, whether they have them turned on to be activated. I don't even know if John could answer that.
Well, and is it an issue for all the other fire companies? That's the thing. I mean, would they want it just because you got it?
Well, I guess it all depends if they get a complaint in their community.
Right.
Said this only come to head in the last month. Yeah, that's because of me. I requested the siren to be turned off. I live one block from the fire company for 45 years. For 40 years, I never said a thing. Now I'm tired of it. Not only myself, some neighbors in close proximity, including some of the employees at the radio station. But I'm not talking for them, I'm talking for myself. He said they can turn it off certain hours of the day. Well, if you can turn it off certain hours, you can turn it off all day long. Like I said, we all went through this at township meeting. The fire sirens are a relic of the 20th century. This is the 21st century. Get into it. I mean, I don't like it either, but it is what it is. So you don't need them. Every fireman has some kind of pager on himself to alert it. Now, when that fire siren goes off at 2 o'clock in the morning where I live southeast of the fire station, the prevailing winds are out of the northwest. It will lift you right out of bed. Believe me, it will. It's just not needed anymore. It's plain common sense. You can turn it off. If 5 fire companies can turn it off in the county, the rest can turn it off. It's that simple. I mean, I don't think I'm asking for a whole lot. And like I say, the other neighbors in close proximity. Gordy will tell you, if you come out of that radio station when that fire siren's go off, the radio station is 150 feet from that siren. You will put your hands over your ears. It actually hurts your eardrums. It's that loud. I'm just saying, use common sense, turn it off. You know, it's not needed. Now, like I said, for 40 years, I put up with it because it was needed. That's the only way they had to get their members, they're the firefighters. So that's all I'm saying. It's really not needed anymore.
May I ask Lee, what is the fireman's perspective to answer that? I mean, are there times you're mowing grass and you don't hear the pager, or what's?
The reason we decided to have it activated from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and not shut it off entirely, okay, is because sometimes people are outside doing yard work, running power equipment or whatever, and quite honestly, there's times when our pagers don't go off. And also, what plays into this, there's no way, if we do away with the siren, there goes the warning siren. which we almost activated a few
For
weeks ago
tornadoes
for a
and
tornado
things.
warning.
Oh.
Okay, let me say something there. I got no problem with that siren staying there for, let's say, an extreme emergency. Let's say 3 Mile Island blows up again, or there are tornadoes or something. I got no problem with that. But for every little fender bender on 72, it's getting old. I mean, it's actually getting old. And this whole deal with the siren, it's gonna get a lot bigger, people, a lot bigger, because there's a whole big story behind this. And I'm not at liberty to go any further than that, on the advice of attorneys.
Gordon?
Gordon?
I just have one question. John, is this repeat dispatch, repeat siren, a problem with counties that have other CAD systems? Or is it specific to the CAD system that you and your CAD?
That I can't answer, Gordy, I don't.
If this was a hardware issue, I could understand the company that has the CAD saying, well, it's just the way the hardware is, there's nothing you can do about it. But since it's a software issue, there are programmers who can go in and change things around.
And that's what they're looking at now. That was 7.5 years ago. There was no fix at that point. There's been updates and patches for other things, but nothing to fix the paging.
But they told you 7.5 years there was no fix.
There was no fix.
Now they're looking to see if there's
They're
a
gonna look and
possible
see,
fix.
maybe they can alter something because of other patches that occurred over the years.
What I'm hearing is an issue of trust. I think that they do now have a responsibility to fix it.